What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm going to be taking a quick look at Dark Scavenger by Psydra Games. This actually isn't a particularly new title. This launched on the developer's own website to purchase through them over 2 years ago at this point. It launched back in April 2012. However, today it makes its debut on Steam, so I'm going to be taking a look at it. We're going to jump in, click to play, and we're going to get this. Every time you start the game, you get this notice that, yes, we've got autosaves after every event. This has been well established now, I know this, but it's going to keep telling me. No way to make it stop doing that. It's kind of annoying. Options menu. We have a music and sound effects slider. There are no graphical options at all to speak of. The game, when you first launch it, runs in an 800 by 600 window. That window can be maximized, but you can see the title at the top, the Dark Scavenger logo. It's kind of done in this hand-drawn style. The whole game is done in this hand-drawn style, and when you scale it up, it just stretches all the pictures, and it looks really quite poor. So the only way to play the game, reasonably to be honest, is in the default 800 by 600 window, which is not terribly great. You know, in this day and age, we'd like to see a little bit more than that, to be honest. So that's kind of poor. So let us jump on into the game. What have we got here? We have got a turn-based point-and-click adventure. I'm currently in Chapter 3, the Das Assault. And this is about 2 hours or so into the game, just for some sort of point of reference. I'm not sure exactly how long the game is total, but I've been at it a couple of hours, and it's pretty entertaining, to be honest, at this point so far. We got this great art style going on, and it is point-and-click. We have a map system, so we've got a series of these square rooms in a grid format, and we can move back and forth between them. And each of the rooms has got things to interact with. So we've got cracked ground, we've got poetry books, we have extinguished torches, and each of these things is going to give us stuff to interact with. I think I've already had a look at most of the things in this room, so there's not going to be a lot to interact with here. Fortress in bad shape, poetry books. Books of poetry, presumably written by Sharda, a person we just recently met. And you don't have time to read all these, and there's some torches that have been put out by the rain, so there's not a lot here. Ooh, hang on, there's some flags, I've not seen them. So, there we go, there's something to interact with. Several Vindel flags way below. We can take a close look or can walk away. And a group of Vindel bandits scream as a massive Das Alka-beast pursues them far below. So, the concept of this is we are one of the Dark Scavengers on board a spaceship that's run out of fuel, and we've landed on this planet to try and acquire a fuel source, and kind of ended up in the middle of a conflict between a few different tribes and things. And it's all kind of confusing and a bit strange, so got a couple of bandits there being pursued by a crazy alien monster beast thing. So now we can interact with things, and as you saw at the start, the game saves after every event, and there's no way to select new saves or go back to old saves, so everything I pick is kind of, that's what's going to happen. There's no way to go, oh, I didn't like that decision. In many respects, it works out a lot more like a point-and-click, choose-your-own-adventure novel kind of thing. So we're going to have options to pick from, and whichever one we get, we commit to. We have probably going to end up fighting something here, I can suspect. We've got our health in the top corner, and we have a potion that can be used at any time. It refills once per chapter. You can use it once, any time in that chapter to restore our health to 100. That's in or out of combat. There's a few other healing items that you can use in combat to restore your health, but for the most part, if you get in trouble, you're going to want to click that one. So we're probably going to get into a fight here. We can drop something heavy on the Alka-beast, or drop something heavy on the bandits. Let's drop it. I would rather take my chances with the bandits, I suspect. The Alka-beasts are kind of nasty. And then we have these three sections at the bottom. We have weapons, items, and allies, and there is a bizarre crafting system, which I'll get into shortly, because I won't be able to do that until after the fight. And you end up creating a whole bunch of different weird weapons, equally weird items, and equally weird allies. And each of them have different effects that you can use in combat, or indeed out of combat. So in this instance, we didn't need to use something just as a tool to solve this problem. Each item has a certain number of uses, each of them has a certain number of effects. In this case, it says we want to drop something heavy, so if I drop, and I've got Ashlight, which is a small futuristic flashlight, which probably won't work terribly well. I don't know what I've got that's particularly heavy. Different things require different solutions. There's a great example of one that, a little while back in the story. It requires you to pull a spear out of the wall that's electrified, and it says, please pick an item from your bag that's that you can use to you're given the option to pull it out with your bare hands, which you'll take a bunch of damage if you do that, quite obviously. Or you can try and pull it out with something in your inventory. If you use a metallic object like a sword to try and knock it out, you're going to get electrocuted. If you use, I think what I ultimately ended up using was like a teddy bear, but you know, the teddy bear will insulate and you can pull it out. So in this case, I want something heavy. What is a good heavy option to drop on? I don't think any of these sound especially heavy. I've got a dagger, an axe, a mega mace sounds pretty hefty actually, Titanic stone mace. But that's like one of the best weapons I've got. Actually, it's got a high miss rate, so it's probably not that great. Let's drop a Mega Mace. Mega Mace smacks the Alkabeast on the head and knocks it out cold. So that was good. You know what, had I tried that in combat, it probably wouldn't have done that, but hey-ho, I'm happy to let that go. Grateful for the assist, the bandits quickly climb up the wall to kill you. So there we go. Now we're in combat. The animations are as fantastic as the game would have led you to believe so far. Everything in this game simply has one sprite. That's it. These guys never change image beyond this. When they attack, when I attack them, all we're going to get is this image and we're just going to get text on the screen to tell us what's happening. The entire game is mostly textual, to be honest. It could be described as lazy, but in its own very strange way, it kind of seems kind of charming. So I get first shot. In this instance, I can use an ally, or I can use an item or a weapon. Allies have a number of effects. Items, most of these will end the turn. I think there's some that won't. What have we got? We have Kamaho. Kamaho is one of the guys that we got on our spaceship. He will analyze them and tell me their weaknesses, but I'm pretty sure I know his weakness. He's weak to fire. He's wearing a wooden armor plate, so you know. Let's analyze the monk guy. Can you do any sort of fire attack? Keep any Gisa attacks to yourself. Gisa being a weird sort of chemical with special powers within this world. So I'm guessing all the bandits are weak to fire. I've got a few fire weapons. I have no fire items that are particularly useful. I have a dragon, which is kind of... it's a little bit overpowered. It deals massive fire damage to all enemies. It would probably end this fight very quickly, but at the same time, it's overkill for this fight. I got a nice ash light, which is a flashlight that overheats, and it deals a lot of fire damage. That'll probably do the job. I also have a heat focus ray, which is not particularly high damage, but it is fire damage, and it deals more damage with each successive blast, so that's an interesting mechanic. What else have I got? I've got a trident, which deals fire, electric, and wind. You can see that at the bottom of the screen. It is a melee weapon. It deals pretty hefty damage, but I've only got one shot left in that, so I probably don't want to use that right now. I want to save that for something better. I keep finding myself doing that with a lot of things. It's like, I want to save that, I want to save that. I've got Control A, which makes your next attack affects all opponents and does not end my turn, so that's a nice one. I also have Healing Fluid, which does not end my turn and will restore 50 health, so that's always good. If you get in trouble in combat, you're not wasting a turn to heal yourself, which is... that seems a little powerful, but I will take it. So I will use a Control A. That will let me hit them both. And then if I use an ash light, that stuns them both because they're weak to fire. If you hit them with their weakness, they will be stunned. So they've both been melted with a flashlight. What can I hit them with? I have a Toho, which is a great one. Does extra damage to opponents with a single foot on the ground. How would you tell this? By looking at the sprites. That's the only way you can tell whether they're weak to it. He's got 1 foot on the ground, it's going to deal extra damage to him. His sprite does not, it has both feet on the ground. It won't work very well against him. That's literally how that one works. There's another one, can't remember what it is, it's somewhere around here. There's one I've got that says deals extra damage to enemies with big teeth, I think? Which is bizarre. Rexy, only attacks opponents who are outside? Okay. That's a recent one I got, I hadn't actually looked at that one. There is one that said deals damage to enemies with large teeth, I think. I don't know what it was, though. Was it Dark Spray? I don't know. Nope. High stun rate attacks all enemies. Anyway, I've got a flintlock pistol, which deals a high damage when enemies are stunned. You kind of got those 3 damage ranges at the bottom of the screen there. You've got low damage, mid damage, and high damage. I think in most instances, weapons will deal mid damage unless they are weak to it, or whatever criteria are met for high damage. Enemies are also obviously resistant to some, like say, with these guys you don't want to use a Gisa attack, there'll be some weapon, like obviously I've got a Gisa Blast, if I use that they'll be resistant to it, they will take low damage, 3 to 6, and it won't be very good. I have my flintlock pistol, and it deals high damage when enemies are stunned, so I'm going to deal 13 to 18 damage if I shoot either of these guys with it, which seems like a good choice, so pop, he's out, there we go, 17 damage. So he's down. He's woken up and he's fallen over because his weapon's too heavy. So, well, I'll take that. Enemies do have... It does seem like a reasonably high chance to miss, but I won't argue that. Rexy only attacks opponents if you're outside. We do appear to be outside, judging by the background. Again, most of this just seems to be determined by what's the picture on the screen. So I'm going to use Rexy and see what we can do with that. Bam. Good damage, not amazing damage. He's going to hit me for 8 damage. Let's finish this off. I have got a trusty sword, which should probably do this, maybe? No, not quite. One more with the sword. Bam, there we go. And that's it. End of the fight. Quickly climb down the wall and loot the remains of your defeated enemies. So we've got an Alcadas bandana. Cool. So now I think I've exploited all the things in this room for loot and treasures and things. And now I can move on to another room. So if I head back the way I came, there won't be much there. I could head that way, or I can head right or down, and we'll move on to another area. And between each room, if you have looted anything, and in this case I have, I've acquired actually 3 items from this area, I can move down. And between just going across the bridge to another area of the base, I now need to go back up to my spaceship and talk to all my guys up here, and each of these will take whatever I found and craft it into a weapon, an item, or an ally for us. So I got a poetry book. Let's take the poetry book to begin with. I can talk to Kamaho, who is a weird alien skeleton with a crossbow, because why not? And he'll make a weapon for us. There are a lot of words in this book. Sorry, that was a silly thing to say. I could probably make you a nice weapon with this. I feel like I'm going on a little too long here. That's about the best clue you get as to what weapon he's going to make. He will make you something, but often you won't have any clue what it's going to be, and it's probably going to be something monumentally silly as well. I could talk to Fulson, alien who really reminds me of Stan the used boat salesman from the Monkey Island series. Yeah, she sells seashells by the she sells seashells by the seashore. That's about as well as I managed to say it anyway. So yeah, I have no idea what he's going to make out of that. Not a clue. And Gazer spells out your name using sign language and then karate kicks you. Don't know what that means. Don't have a clue what that means. This is normally at least some of them give you a vague idea what they're going to make. In this instance, none of them give us any remote idea what I'm going to get from this. I'm going to try my luck with Kamaho. He's going to make me a long-winded whip. Why not? A poetry book is turned into a long-winded whip. Sure, okay. I suspect that's a whip that deals wind damage, to be honest. We have a torn boot. What can I make from that? We can go to Fulson. Because I've used Kamaho once on this trip, I can't use him again. I can only take it to Fulson or Gazer. Gazer leaps into the air over and over again. He's really trying his best. Instantly, by the way, this guy doesn't have a mouth, so he mimes everything. Or he can bring me something that people wear on their feet. I hate feet. I'll make you an anti-feet item. Sure, let's have an anti-feet item. Electric caltrops. Sure, why not? Alcadas bandana. That is... You make eye contact with Gazer. Gazer looks pissed. Lion! Okay, I will take a lion. Why the devil not? Sure. So some areas will have events that are happening as you arrive and you'll be forced into them, and others, like this, are just deserted and you'll be able to click on things. So, oh no, someone's talking to us. Hey, Dark Scavenger. A large creature stands behind you, his body completely covered in armor. This is a new thing I haven't seen before. A new creature. I've been trailing you since you got to this planet. You're new at this, but you've been making some pretty incredible progress, my friend. You know who I am? Space Raptor? I don't know, but I have a feeling you're about to tell me. It doesn't matter, I'm about to kick your ass. So most things you meet, there does seem to be just an option that's just like, fight! Fight them all! But you can, in some cases, negotiate your way out of things, or use an item, and using items degrades them. Each of those items, you do keep them permanently, and they have a limited number of uses, but those uses entirely recharge at the end of each chapter. So even if I use them, when I get to chapter 4, once I get to the end of this section of the story, all those items will be restored to full use, and I can use them to solve further problems or use them in combat again, which is kind of nice, because at first you kind of go into the game thinking, oh, I need to ration these things. I mean, you generally get items faster than you use them. You like use one use for an item in order to acquire a loot item that can be crafted into a new item, which has several uses. So ultimately, you're gaining more stuff than you're using. But at the same time, you start out feeling like, oh, I'm running out of things really, really quickly. But when it recharges, suddenly, okay, now I've got a lot more things in my arsenal. As you progress, the amount of options and diversity you have to work with are considerably higher. So, are you a space raptor? I said who, not what. Name's Tep. I'm a member of a little-known group called the Hargis. It was a new group I've not encountered before. The amount of things fighting at this point seem to be very strange. I don't suppose any of your other Dark Scavenger buddies have mentioned me before. Hargis? Folson may have made a noise that sounded like that once. Nope, this is a new one. Really, that was classy of them. Hargis are just like all of you. We're trapped in space as well, and we need fuel for survival. The only real things that set us apart is that we're better than you and we don't have a stupid name. So if you want to resolve this peacefully, you're going to have to give me a few things. Like what? Anything you have, Scavenger, I'm robbing you. You've gotten way ahead of me in your travels, and you took most of the good stuff for yourself. Give some of it to me, and I'll let you go. How much do you need? Just keep giving me equipment, and I'll tell you when to stop. It's that easy. I'm not giving you anything. Fine, I'll just have to beat it out of you. To be honest, I'm probably going to use more fighting him than I actually would have gotten by giving him stuff. I don't know. Who knows? So we're indoors. We're not going to be able to use Rexy. Let's have a look at the new things we got. We got Lion. Aggressive Alka Beast who doesn't like being stared at. Only attacks opponents that make eye contact with you. Probably doesn't work because he doesn't immediately look like he's making eye contact. Electric Caltrops. Chance of causing damage and making an opponent lose their turn each round. It does not end my turn, so I can throw that in front of him and I can then use a extra weapon as well. I've got some other similar ones to that though. I've got Shine Mines, which also do the same, and Toaster, which also does very, very similar. So I think it's more a matter of what type of damage and how much damage you want to do. I've never met this guy before, so I'm going to analyze him with Kamaho first. Can you do any sort of rabid badger attack? Keep any non-elemental attacks to yourself. So, anything that's not elemental, he's going to resist. And I'm supposed to try and do a rabid badger attack. And I don't have anything like that. But I am entirely prepared to believe that there is a rabid badger somewhere in this game that you can use as a weapon against this guy. That's that kind of game. It really is. There is bound to be a rabid badger somewhere in this. So let's start out by throwing the electric caltrops down. Why not? So maybe he'll step on that and get shocked. So I need let's, I'm going to use my trident. They said let's use elemental. This has got all the elements, so bam. Oh, that wasn't very effective. He's got a lot of health. Yikes. Okay. He steps on the caltrops and is zapped. That's what I wanted. That is why I threw them down. We have a Dark Spray, which is non-elemental. That's no good. My Flintlock Pistol is non-elemental. Geisa Blaster does Geisa damage, which I guess might work. Let's try that. That's a good solid amount of damage, but that one degrades more than once, so I lost 2 uses on that one. He's gonna hit me pretty hard, it seems. Yikes, okay. I have Barricades, who does not end my turn. He's going to absorb damage from me, which is kind of nice. We have a Creeper, deals damage to me if he kills an opponent. Yeah, Creeper, you do that. He's not likely to kill anything anytime soon. So he missed. Who else can do some work for us? Lion won't do anything, did he? Tiger only deals damage to person opponents. Does that count as a person? I don't know. Slicer will not attack other DAS. Well, that's not a DAS, so Slicer can probably do something for me. Bam, 16 damage. That's solid damage. This guy is pretty tough. I'm below 50 health, so it will be worth my while taking a healing fluid, I suspect. That doesn't end my turn, so I can carry on. What else do I have that I could use? My Long-Winded Whip, what does that do? Has the ability to hit all enemies with extremely long range, but as a negative that trails off. Good, well played. I can't make the window any bigger to fit the text on, but the text doesn't actually fit in there. So, oh, I get it. It's long-winded. Right. I'm slow today. Right. It's a long-winded whip. Of course it is. My Toho won't do anything. My Vampire Bat will heal me slightly, but it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I have a Sample Dagger. What does that do? I'm not sure what that one does. Drain a stunned opponent's health and gives it back to you. That could be good. I could use stunning it first then. I do have an adorable teddy that might stun it. I have my Awesome Detector. I love this weapon, the Awesome Detector. It doesn't end my turn, and I can use it on it, and I turn on the Awesome Detector. That's about all it does. It's literally what that weapon does. You turn it on. I don't know why or what it's for, I just love that something like that actually exists. But hey-ho. Anyway. Now what have I got that I could possibly... like I say, I just need a Rabid Badger attack to do high damage and stun him, and I can't do that, which is a shame. What else have I got to work with? Gerbok the Trapper attacks all opponents and has a high stun rate. He's got 60% chance to stun. I will... Oh, he missed. Great. Tap looks taken aback as he stumbles away. Oh, the fight ended. Not bad, Dark Scavenger. I didn't expect you to put up such a good fight. Frankly, it's not worth expending my resources on you. Keep your Dark Scavenger junk. I'll catch up with you later. As Tap runs off, you know a small flake of armor fell from his body, and I get his loot. And then we can have a look at some things. We have a spear pile. We have a Juro. Oh, hang on. Juro lies dead on the ground, his neck sliced wide open. Oh, he was the guy that's been helping us out. That's kind of disappointing to see that he's dead. Oh, poor Juro. Pitch tent. You hear some commotion coming from the tent above. Climb up and investigate. There is a Vindel shaman dueling an aggressive Gisa beast. As a Gisa beast tackles... Yeah, that's about the... I'm glad I found that. That's about the shape of the animation in this game. They turn the picture sideways and put the beast on top of it. That's literally as good as you get animation-wise in this game. And again, it's... Anywhere else, I would just call that lazy. For whatever reason, in the context of this game, this very, very eclectic and strange game, it kind of works, just in its own right. I can't explain how or why, but it does. So, as the Gisa beast tackles the bandit to the ground, the bandit catches a glimpse of you in the corner of his eye. Stranger, I need help. Hit it with wind to get it off me. Why should I help you? Use a wind weapon to knock it off. I'll help him out. Why not? I have got a Bone Dart Uzi which does wind damage, so bam! Swift attack from your Bone Dart Uzi forces the Gisa beast to stumble off the pinned bandit. Leaping to his feet, the bandit follows up with a massive swing of his staff, sending the monster splattering against the ground below. Thank you, outsider. That was a dangerous situation. I don't have anything to give you, but maybe I can answer some questions. What's the best strategy for fighting Gisa creatures? Anything that can create a strong wind current works well against Gisa monsters. Raw Gisa can't survive against much exposure to air, which is why it's normally found underground. When Gisa takes solidified form, though, normal air can't hurt it so easily. However, focused air can still dismantle it. Does that answer your question? What were you doing with the Gisa beast? I was trying to funnel the Gisa into a weapon, but I wasn't keeping watch over it and that creature came out. I thought I might be able to tame it before it lashed out, but I'm not good enough for that. Only our leader, Gevis, is skilled enough to make Gisa work for him once it is solidified. Tell me more about Gevis. Gevis is the head shaman. He made up the Gisa conversion process all by himself. While normal shamans can only channel the Gisa into equipment, Gevis can use it to enhance his body. Even the mighty General Amornan is afraid of Gevis. I suspect that's a boss fight coming up at the end of this chapter, you know. So, I don't have any more questions. Alright then, outsider. Thanks again. So I have some information, if nothing else. That's essentially functionally equivalent of what a Kamaho use against a monster, I suppose. But, whatever. So that you kind of got a feel for the game at this point. This is about it. I can look up all my items here. We've got some key items that will occasionally be used in the story, and it's just literally just going through this map and exploring and clicking on things and finding new items and turning those new items into new weapons, items, and allies to use in combat or in. They're not particularly in any way puzzles. To call it a point-and-click adventure seems slightly incorrect because, whilst there is a lot of point and clicking, it's not what you'd think of in the conventional sense. Normally you'd be sort of thinking of find an item, use it on another item, solve a puzzle with it, you know. Rub item X on door Y to get to location Z, you know, the usual, or occasionally mix two items together to make a key to unlock a door, or whatever. You know how they work. There's none of that in here, it's just, what item would you like to use from your inventory to fix this problem? It doesn't matter if it's monumentally stupid, it'll work. If it doesn't work, there's just a chance you're going to take damage and you're going to need to heal up a little bit more later. That's how things go down in this game. It's very strange, but it kind of works in and of itself. For the most part, it feels, like I say, more like an old-school text adventure or a choose-your-own-adventure book, insofar as, well, there's no going back on any of the decisions you make. Had I chosen to make a different decision in either of those fight situations earlier, I could have ended up fighting that Gisa beast or fighting the Alka monster earlier. Maybe that would have made a dramatic difference to the story. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I would have wound up with a different loot item and crafted different weapons, which would have been a trivial difference in terms of the story. Other things are more important. In those cases, they probably weren't. But yeah, like I say, if you're more of a fan of the narrative kind of thing, you've got this rather nice art style in the background, but almost all the information that will be given to you through the game is all textual. It's a text adventure is what it is, with a lick of paint, quite frankly, at the end of the day. I've been having a lot of fun with it, to be honest. I would like to carry on and finish this, to be honest. I'm enjoying the story a lot. And if you wish to pick this up, this is out today for PC and Mac on Steam for $4.99 or your regional equivalent, and indeed there is a 20% launch discount for the first week, so that'll bring it down to $4. So thank you very much for watching. I have been Meroka. This has been Dark Scavenger, and I shall see you next time.